The quote that I'm about to read to you is attributed to Alexander Tyler, who lived during the Revolutionary era. Let me read it to you. A democracy is always temporary in nature. It simply cannot exist as a permanent form of government. A democracy will continue to exist up until the time that voters discover that they can vote themselves generous gifts from the public treasury. From that moment on, the majority always votes for the candidates who promise the most benefits from the public treasury, with the result that every democracy will finally collapse due to loose fiscal policy, which is always followed by a dictatorship. I pray that this prophecy, whoever said this, is not true, but I've read this quote many times over the years. And right now, the trajectory that we're on economically, we're doomed. Unless there is some serious alteration of our course, we will go into an economic tailspin eventually. We will collapse eventually. It's a house of cards. It's a Ponzi scheme. All right? Obama's comment about the shrinking our deficits made me laugh out loud when I watched it. All right, so let me focus for a minute. If you noticed, he talked about free stuff, all right? He wants, for the middle class now, he wants federal child care for everyone. He wants every worker to have paid sick leave. He wants everyone to go to community college, free community college for everyone. He wants the minimum wage to be raised for everyone. He wants to upgrade worker skills, which means we have to pay for adults to go back to school and to get re-educated. And he even hinted at some way for students to get their student loans forgiven, just completely forgiven. Because after all, if you are going to give free college tuition for 2 years to community college kids, the people who got grants that they have to pay back, government loans who went to community college, are going to say, hey, why should I have to pay mine back? They're getting theirs for free. Now, I'm going to say something, and I want you to just stay with me, please, because what I'm about to say is distasteful to many of us. And it's going to be a little bit painful. He was very shrewd. He said, well, look, we give high school educations to everyone for free. Why not community college? Right? It's arbitrary. I'll do a little bait and switch, and then I'll prove my point. In my opinion, the most devilishly ingenious thing that Obama did to further socialism, a communist ideology of a redistribution of the wealth, two things he did which got to the middle class. One was cash for clunkers, and the other was the mortgage bailout. So the people who were underwater with their mortgages could go to the government and get money. For many Americans, perhaps millions of Americans, who were raised by hardworking parents and who are hardworking Americans, this was the first time that they reached into the public treasury. They said, oh, I got a brand new car. Oh, my mortgage has been reduced. They didn't think through the ethics of it. Where did this money come from? It came from someone else. And here's the question that we're going to have to ask. And again, I say it's distasteful, it's hard to discuss, but we have to discuss it. Do I have the right to put the tax collector's gun, all right, the tax collector's ability to take money? Do I have the right to use the power of the government to take money from my neighbor and then to spend his money on my house or my car or my son's community college or their health care or anything? In other words, the general welfare means we all have the same court system. We all have police and firemen. We all have roads. We all have a military that protects us. That's the general welfare. That's for everybody. But when you start to get into the redistribution of wealth, like that quote at the beginning, when you reach into the treasury and vote for candidates that will promise you the most stuff, not only does it ring the end of a republic, but it says, I'm now coveting. I'm now stealing. I'm now taking what is not mine and using it for my dreams. And there's something fundamentally wrong about that, people, and that's the discussion that we are going to have to have. Stay with me, we'll play a couple more clips. I have been a leader in the pro-life movement for 30 years, and sadly we have not prevailed in our goal to make it a criminal act to kill an unborn baby. There's reasons why we have failed. I wrote this book, A Humble Plea, to Catholic bishops, to evangelical clergy, and to lay people, explaining where we went wrong and what we have to do to prevail. We've made this available as a PDF online for free. I encourage you to go and download your own copy. Why does a nice guy like me keep getting thrown in jail? I have been arrested almost 50 times and spent over a year of my life locked up in various prison facilities. And I wrote a book, many books. In fact, one of them is called Why Does a Nice Guy Like Me Keep Getting Thrown in Jail? It's a theological work, answering those who say that the church should not be involved in politics or that we should retreat. I encourage you to get it. In fact, get one and give it to your pastor.